Good evening, everybody. Hope you are all doing well tonight. I just realized that I forgot to write out the dimensions, so I'm going to flip to where I have it in my notebook here, and I will add a picture or something to our stuff later about what you should have on hand tonight. So I'm going to start out by showing you what I'm going to be using tonight. It's on page 117 of the current annual catalog. It's called All Squared Away. Comes in a bundle, and you've got this collection of stamps, and you have some matching dies. Hi, Mary Lynn. Thanks for joining me tonight. Excuse me. And this is one of the bundles that is an extra 10% off this month, so you get 20% off of this bundle instead of just the normal 10. I've kind of held off for a little while and picking it up. Hey, Jessie, good to see ya. But I've had it for a little while now, and I love the simplicity of it. So like I said, you've got your stamp sets, and then you have these really cute matching dies. And the dies themselves are just so fun and cute for making cards. And I love the fact that in the catalog here, they showed you kind of how I like to do it sometimes on our Mondays, where it's, you know, start out with something simple and then keep adding to, you know, step it up, make it a little more wow, depending on how much time you get. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Hope everything is going well down in Florida. Alrighty, so again, I'm using All Squared Away tonight, and like I said, that's part of the bundles that are an extra on sale this month. So recommend taking a look at that, seeing if it's something you want to add to your collection. You want to make sure you grab that before the month is over. All right, like I said, I realized I forgot to write out my little piece of paper. It tells me what you're supposed to have. I'm going to be using a lot of black cardstock tonight, so I'm just going to switch this out so you can kind of see what I got. All right, you're going to want a piece of cardstock for your card base. That's the normal 5.5 by 8.5. We're going to score that at 4 1/4. You want 3 strips of designer series paper. And I said you could substitute too if you needed to fill in a little cardstock or something like that. Hey, Kathy Jo, good to see ya. So once again, I am using the All Together designer series paper. I love the black and white. A lot of stuff I'm going to show you tonight is black and white based, and then my extra samples have just little pops of color. It's something I love to do with black and white imagery. So when I said I've got a dark card base, so I said keep a scrap handy for your phrase. I did mine ahead of time. There's mine. So it says you're so worthy, or you're so worth celebrating. And that comes from this part right here on the All Squared Away. The rest of my samples are just going to be using the dies actually, along with that phrasing. And then you want to have a phrase that's about 2 or 3 inches long. It's about what I've got here. If you have lighter cardstock and you're stamping on it directly, that's cool. If not, try to have a piece of neutral nearby that you can stamp and just trim off a little bit. All right, and then your designer series paper pieces, you should have one piece that is 3/4 by 4, and you should have one piece that is 2 pieces, I'm sorry, that are 1/2 by 4. And you can have these all mix and match. You can have these two be the same, this one different, and I said you can also substitute in some cardstock if you need to, depending on what your DSP looks like. All right, and I'll show you what just the other sides look like as well of these. So I really like these black and white patterns that come in this All Together designer series paper. Love it, love it, love it. And then you wanted to have a focal point, about a 2 by 2 shape, and that's why I picked this die piece to be my focal point. So I went ahead and die cut one of those out here, and I have a piece of just a white square behind it so that it'll pop off of the black background as well. So there's my focal point for tonight. And like I said, you can take your neutral piece that you have that's about that size, go ahead and either stamp on it, use a die cut image, something that you've punched out, anything that's, like I said, your focal point image, and then your phrase is going to end up going onto your card base itself. All right, so if you haven't already done your focal point image, go ahead and get that going. I'm just going to assemble mine with a little bit of glue on the back side of this guy, and I'll put him on my square of basic white. And try not to get too much on there. I like working with the glue because it holds really well, but I'm also a little messy with it sometimes. All right, so again, I worked from the back side on that. I found that a little bit easier. All right, there is my focal piece. And like I said, if you don't have yours done yet, don't worry. You can always, it's the very last thing we're going to put on, so you can always add it even when I'm all done and showing you other things. All right, so go ahead and grab your bone folder or whatever you're using to help your card fold in the middle there. Again, that was at the 4 1/4 inch mark. I'm going to be doing mine horizontally. Most of my samples will be this way, but I do have a vertical option to show you as well. All right, so go ahead and take your pieces. We're going to start with one of the 1/2 inch strips, and you're going to end up placing it somewhere in the top half of your card. If you want to at this point do anything to them, like make your little arrow indentations or cut them on slants, or if you want to leave them squared off, go right ahead. This one I'm going to leave squared off, and then I can show you samples of where I've done it the other way. All right, so let's go ahead and add that one down. And like I said, about halfway up, in the top half I should say. And then the other pieces are going to go adjacent to it, and you're just going to stagger a little bit. So this one's going to be your longest one, and then the next one's going to go about kind of in the middle there. You can choose then, if you want at this point, to take this and pop it up a little bit. If you want to have that raised up, go right ahead, put some dimensionals under that, or just have them all butt up against each other. That's completely your choice. You know what you're going to be doing to this card probably, so if you want to mail it and you like to have things a little flatter, go for that. That makes complete sense in my head. And yes, these stripes are kind of abstract or not straight, so don't worry that it looks a little bit white over here and not over here. It's the nature of the DSP, not that I can't cut straight, although sometimes that becomes issues, doesn't it? Okay, now I want to see which side of this I want to use. Okay, I think I like that one. All right, and like I said, if you wanted to have any of these ends cut into like a flag shape or cut off into diagonals, whatever you wanted to do there, okay? So that's where your DSPs are going to go. If you have your phrase that you can put directly onto your cardstock, go ahead and put it down in the corner. And then, hi Mom, good to see you tonight. You can go ahead and stamp that directly onto your card base, or if you have a dark base like I do, go ahead and put it on that scrap and then put that down in your corner there. So I'm going to go ahead and mount mine. And again, if you want any of this up on dimensionals or whatever, go right ahead and do that. Okay, so my phrase is going to be down there in the corner. And then for my focal point, I am going to raise that up just a little bit. I'm going to move these guys out of the way for a second with my mini dimensionals. Oop, there we go. And one more. And that's going to go over the pieces of Designer Series paper that we laid down. Nope, one more, come on. Being a little stubborn, there we go. Okay. So my guy's gonna go, and you can decide where you want this to be. Do you want it to be more to this side? Do you want it to be in the center? Do you want it to be on an angle? You know, depending on what your shape looks like, play around with that placement. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a little bit of an angle on him. All right, and that is your basic layout. And again, I chose to do a very monochromatic black and white tonight. That Altogether Designer Series paper really has been drawing me in. I love the simplicity of it, and then I like to add the pops of color. And that's one thing that's really easy to do with this die set, because as you can see, each of these cuts a different shape. The square will automatically be cut, and plus the part that's on the inside. So anything that you see black behind this is my metal piece, my magnet piece that will be cut through your piece when you die cut. And then if you see these pieces over on the side, they match up to the flowers that are on here. So you can add an extra layer of color that way. So like you would cut this one out for there, you cut that one out for here, you've got this shape for right here, these little trios fit up here, and then the big flower, of course, is over here. So you could think about doing the base in a color, like if you wanted to definitely have stems and flowers, go ahead and cut that out of a green and then add over it with a color of your flower. I'm going to show you what I did with a couple of mine. So this one I added Magenta Madness to it, and I took the black and white paper and I just roughly colored in with my Stampin' Blend in the magenta color to add a little pop there as well. And as you can see, I chose to do the angle cuts on these. That's what I was talking about before. You can angle cut those guys out. This one here, I used Flirty Flamingo, and I did the little flag cut, and I also just left those edges up a little bit, just for a little bit of interest and dimension. And then of course, I did this guy on a little bit of a different angle. And I did do, since there isn't a die that cuts this one out, I sent it through again with just a little piece of flamingo covering that part right there, and then cut off what I needed to put on top. because I tried it with just this flower and I thought it looked a little plain not having him there as well. And then this is a little bit of a stepped up one with red. So I put my phrase on red as well. I took that striped paper and I colored in the white part with my red Stampin' Blend. I've got the similar pieces here. This one, of course, was the opposite side of that one. I added a little red ribbon. So that one I really like the little pop of red. And I also did a layer, I don't know if you can see it here. You'll probably see it better in the photo. There's a layered piece here that I embossed with the Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. And then here's the vertical layout I promised you. It's using the same one I started with for my sample piece on camera. I just did the vertical layout this way then. So the pieces of paper went up and down. I used that same one, but then I added my 3 little flowers. And this one is, oh, what color did I use? Calypso Coral. There we go. had to pop it into my head for a second. I used my coral marker as well and highlighted some of those. I don't have another sample of that one out here. Of that piece of paper there, I colored in every other square. Kind of went a little over top with this one, but I thought this was a really fun way to do it. And I took my Wink of Stella pen to the parts that I embossed there. I used 2 pieces of cardstock and embossed them instead of using more designer series paper because I really wanted this one to shine through. I also added some Wink of Stella to those flowers. And so there again, I just took the layout, same concept, just changed up the spacing and the sizing of those guys, and then did vertical instead. All right, so that one was pretty quick, and hopefully you guys kept up okay there. I'll stay on for just a little bit longer because I'm going to also show you then where I got the inspiration for this. So I got this swap from Sandy Carlson back at Valentine's Day. So this used the Cute Conversations bundle that's still in the mini catalog, so you can still get this. I love the paper, actually. The other sides have some really pretty plain patterns in the Highland Heather color, some of the pinks, the stripes, the dots, you know, so it doesn't necessarily scream Valentine's Day at you, but the color palette is really, really cute. Love it. And so you can see here, she put her phrase down here. Like I said, when you've got like a lighter cardstock, go ahead and just stamp directly on there. Thanks, Kathy Jo. I agree. The red and black really, really pops. And then, so there's her 3 pieces of designer series paper. There's her focal point. She used 3 different hearts. One of them is in vellum there. Hopefully that you can see that a little bit there. So yeah, so that was the concept there. You've got a little bit of designer series paper, a little pop of something for a focal point. So yeah, this would be a great way to use up, again, some of your scraps of designer series paper. And again, substituting cardstock to match, like I did here. I added just black cardstock to make that one piece really set itself off. So again, this bundle here, this All Squared Away, is on page 117 of the current annual catalog, which actually soon will be, not too soon, but it only goes through the end of April. Excuse me. So something to keep in mind. Take a look in here and see if there's anything that's really striking your fancy. We'll have some retirement announcements coming out in the next couple of weeks. That will be then indicating, or that'll set off the whole While Supplies Last issue on just about everything except stamps. Stamps they should continue to make through the end of the catalog, but whatever papers they have in stock, whatever accessories, whatever dies, punches, etc., whatever's in stock is all that there's going to be at that point. So good idea to keep up on something now, especially the exiting in colors. If you happen to have any of these in colors here, the cinnamon, the jade, the bumblebee, the magenta, and the misty moonlight, and you want to keep using those, definitely grab refills right now for your ink pads. Maybe stock up on a little cardstock if you really like one of those colors and want to keep going with it. Because once the retirement announcement comes out, those will disappear very, very quickly. So again, keep in mind, if you have any of those, you want to get those orders in probably before the end of this month to guarantee that you got some of that coming. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys all enjoyed this layout. I had a lot of fun playing with this and my new All Squared Away bundle. I think that's all I got for you tonight. So please, once this is uploaded, go ahead and share what you've made. I would love to see what you pulled out of your stash of designer series paper, etc., to make cards with me tonight. So, all right, have a good rest of your night, everybody, and I will see you next Monday. Bye now.